So we're going to take a look at the dyno results. For the most part, I'm very happy with how it ended up. These are 3 pulls done about, I don't know, a minute or two apart. So basically back to back to back. Car ran phenomenally. The third pull, from what I recall, I think again was actually the best pull out of the 3, which is kind of weird because you would think, oh, the car's heat soaked, whatever. But it produced the highest peak both torque and horsepower, if I recall correctly. Actually, it was one off on the peak torque, but either way, I mean, you're talking onesies, twosies, the entire power band all the way across. Like, that's phenomenal. We did some testing. I know I had said that there were flow numbers and stuff for the Renegade compared to the stock Crossfire and then the ported one. So, real quick, we took the Renegade in its form from what it had the potential to flow from the flow bench, and we modeled it, and I believe we used like desktop dyno or something like that. I don't quite remember, but basically there's a divergence from right about here onward where the desktop dyno one kind of just follows like this and ends up right around 400 or so. The curve looks exactly the same, except instead of it being tilted like this, it continues on this trend straight up. Now, there's a number of things that could be causing that. I personally think I'm giving up some power just because of the fact that my exhaust neck's down to 2 1/4 at the tail end. I could be wrong on that. But overall, I mean, this is great. We did another model where we did a more realistic comparison based on some other phone numbers from the intake, and we got it to about 360. And I think that's attainable just by, cleaning up the ports a little bit in the runners, even out the flow a little bit more through them. We'll see. Now, this dip here, I thought it was actually going lean here, but it's not. This is actually the lean area, and then it does this. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on here, but it could just also be the dyno loading up in that area since it is a load-bearing dyno. I'm not entirely sure. But either way, torque curve's flat, car feels great, and as I'm sure some people would like to see, how does it compare to the stock Crossfire intake? So we can check that right now. Solid lines are the pull number 3 from the other sheet, and the dotted lines are the best pull from the Crossfire. As you can see, yeah, okay, we gave up a little bit down here, but again, the tune for the Renegade, I have like, I don't know, I put the thing on in March, and I dynoed it last week, so middle of July. So it had 3 months of seat time on it. The stock Crossfire I had almost 2 years of tuning on to get it to where I was comfortable with it. So the fact that you're talking, I don't know, maybe a 10 foot-pound of torque difference here, I don't notice it at all, like driving the car. It'll still very easily roast the tires on command from leaving a traffic light. So I don't really think that this is playing into the grand scheme of, oh yeah, like seat of the pants feels exactly the same. Now on a stock car with a smaller cam, that could be different. But at the same time, I mean, this is truly some, just, I mean, an improvement, without a doubt. So you can see, okay, yeah, it mirrored it up until about 3,500, and the stock intake felt pretty good until about 4,000, where it really starts to just flatten out. I mean, you're talking, what, 60, 70 numbers here, almost? And you also got to remember, when this was done on a day with a negative 400 foot density altitude. You're talking like the best air conditions that you could have possibly had. So I don't even think this here is as great of a difference as it seems. Like, realistically, I don't think I lost anything down here. and I think I gained more up here than this is showing, because like the first test was done under basically the perfect circumstances. I don't think it accounts for that much, but I still think this would be here if we tested the stock intake today, and this would probably be down 10 numbers too for a true 75 horsepower increase. So that all being said, I'm pretty happy with it. I think I want to try, because I actually just today I got back the ported intake from the welder. I'm going to get working on that again, do the best I can with it, and then maybe slap that on the car and just see where it falls, and I'll fully expect it to kind of fall somewhere in the middle here. We could potentially get closer to the Renegade, but at the same time, I want to take the Renegade and clean up the Renegade and see what we can pick up too. The car is showing no vacuum on the dyno, no real hiccups or anything like that, as far as, you know, repeatability, as you saw in the other one. 3 pulls back to back to back, identical. So, and then we'll just take a look at average power real quick. So we went from an average of 299 foot-pounds to 318, so we picked up area under the curve. Cool. And then 231 to 245 horsepower, which again doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're talking, you know, you're not gaining any power shifting here, so you're going back here and you're just kind of, okay, shift to 6,000. Car drops back to 4,400 or so. Shift it 6,000. Car drops back to 4,400 or so. It's faster, regardless of how you look at it. And the same thing with the torque curve. Look at where you are here, and you're almost at your peak with the other intake. I mean, you're talking, what, maybe 30 number difference at your shift. Torque curve's flat. Everything's stout. I mean, the car feels phenomenal. So, with that all said, I mean, I gotta give the Renegade a stamp of approval. I mean, I gotta obviously fix some more things on it. It's hanging on by a thread. I actually had to pull it off the car. Getting this car on the dyno was a feat, because I had reached out on like a Wednesday, and I'd been having a small oil leak for a while. Well, the oil leak was coming from the rear China seal, whatever, and it was also coming from the distributor shaft. So it's just more machining issues with that particular intake. I mean, basically everything that you read that people have issues with that intake, I have all of those issues on that one unit. It's, I mean, it is what it is, but it's just kind of disheartening. But I mean, it's on the car, it's working, it's not leaking yet. So for now, we're good to go. And hopefully I get you guys some data on that ported unit. I don't think I'll end up running the ported unit permanently, unless like it absolutely perfectly matches the Renegade, in which case there's no reason to bolt the Renegade back on, but I foresee it not performing as well. And then at that point, once I'm done with it and have it all cleaned up, maybe I'll sell it or put it on the shelf or something. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Alright, well, thank you for watching and listening to me ramble on for about 10 minutes. Have a nice day.